Good evening, everyone. My name is Brittany McCrae, and I'm an admissions counselor here at Meredith College. We are delighted to have you all with us tonight. By attending this webinar, you all have one important thing in common. You identify as a first generation college student. We recognize the many misconceptions about first gen. However, research has shown us that not only are first generation students exceptionally diverse, but first generation students also provide a rich experience to campus communities and are deeply committed to academic excellence. So here at Meredith College, identifying as first gen is something to be celebrated. This is an exciting time for you and your family. Tonight, we want to help you and your family better understand the resources Meredith College has available to contribute to your transition to college. Transitioning to college is one of the biggest decisions in a lifetime, and sometimes first generation students may have more of a difficult transition. We want you to be aware of and take advantage of all the resources available here at Meredith College. Simply put, each one of you here are incredibly gifted students. So tonight, our goal is to help elevate your knowledge of how to navigate what can seem like a tangled web of college procedures and expectations. Tonight's session will focus on understanding financial aid. So please ask questions in the Q&A box and we will provide answers at the end. I will now turn it over to Kevin Michelson, Director of the Office of Financial Assistance.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Brittany. I appreciate the introduction there. Let me go ahead and share my screen because I'm going to be giving using a presentation here. And hopefully you can see that. All right, I hope that everyone does. Let me first off and say let me just sort of give you an idea of what sort of topics we're going to be covering here. And let me adjust some of my information here. All right. So here are some of our topics that we're going to be talking about. Of course, we're going to talk about cost, and then naturally what comes next is talking about financial aid. What is it? What to do with it? What are some of the types of aid that you can expect to see? Get some explanation, get some definitions of those. A description of the different financial aid programs that we have, or that are access, or that you have the ability to access. How to apply for financial assistance, the aid offer letter, and then some other options. Before I get rolling in things, I just want to make sure that you're aware of that we are here to help you. We know that this process can be very complicated, intimidating, and confusing, especially for students that that are not coming from a background of college. So please reach out to us, research some of the topics that I'm going to provide you, because likely you're not going to remember everything that I say in this presentation. We will have this presentation available for you to download after we've put it out there on the web.
Excuse me, Kevin. I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, sure.
I think your cursor may be blocking your presentation. We are unable to see it.
Oh, I am so sorry.
That's okay.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. So now I have to figure out how to, I'm going to be looking off to the right. So please, my apologies. So, all right. So here is, that is the topics that we're going to cover. And what I typically like to do is to start out with cost. And so cost can be broken down into two different things. One, what we would call direct cost. These are things that you're going to be billed by the school. And then we're going to talk a little bit about indirect costs. These are things that will cost you some money, but it's not billed by the school. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the cost of tuition. And so tuition is a very important cost. It does cover the cost of being in class and attending school, being taught by incredible faculty and being engaged in the different classes that you're going to be participating in. But this tuition is also covering a lot of different other things here on Meredith's campus, as well as participating in the Strong Points program, the Learning Center, working with tutors and helping with your classwork. You'll have access to a lot of different research opportunities. There's a Meredith Mentors program that tuition covers, as well as lifetime access to the career planning here at Meredith College. So the cost at Meredith for next year for tuition and fees is $41,224. Another direct cost is living on campus and residing in the residential halls. This is what we would normally call room and board. This covers the cost of living in the residential halls, 3 meals a day or 21 meals a week, living in suited rooms that share one bathroom with only 2 suited rooms. There's also free laundry, so that's a great benefit to living on campus. And the cost of living on campus and through room and board as a residential student is $12,120. So if you combine that, you combine those two costs, that totals to be about $53,344. Now, something you may not know is that our costs are very comparable to many of the other private institutions about our size across the United States. In fact, our room and board is probably just a little bit less than most schools out there. But of course, it's naturally to see that this is a little bit of a high cost. And so it's only natural to start to talk about financial aid. So let's dive right in and talk about financial aid. Oh, well, let's talk first about other costs that you might not be thinking about, because tuition, room and board are probably the ones that you think about most often. But the other costs that you may not be thinking about when you're attending school or thinking about school is that there is the cost of purchasing books. And that's something that's not billed directly from Meredith, but you will need to purchase your own books. You'll be told about which books you need to purchase, but you'll need to purchase those either by online or by renting them. So those are some costs that you might not be aware of. And so I want to make sure that you're aware that you might need to purchase your own books. You can borrow books. You can also share books with other folks. That's a way to cut costs. But you will need to have your own books and be able to use books while you're attending class. There are other supplies that you may need. There are certain classes that may require supplies like art supplies or some other fees for that. So just be aware that there are supplies that go into that. You will need to purchase notebooks and folders and things like that so that you can stay organized and that type of thing. There's a cost of transportation. You will need to come back and forth to campus. So if you are going to commute, so there will be a cost to that. You will be on campus. You may have a car that you may need to use. And so there could be a cost associated with that. So you've got to think through what kind of costs you may have while you're attending school. It goes beyond just tuition, room and board. So that's part of the reason why I'm having you think about those things. For those that are going to be living on campus, you will need to get things ready for your actual residential or your dorm room. So you'll need to purchase supplies for that, and you need to maintain some of that. So just so you're aware and you start to think about those things, those are the things and those are the costs that you should start to think about and be mindful of when you're thinking through going to college. So those are the cost discussions that I wanted to head off this talk about financial aid. Let me first define financial aid. It simply is resources that offset the educational cost that's provided by the college, federal government, the state, or private agencies. Now, it can come in a lot of different types, and these are the most popular types. And let me explain a little bit about them. The first type is what we call a grant. This is often based upon need, and it is usually something that you don't need to pay that back. And it's basically free money. But so we want to encourage you to seek out as many grants as you can get your hands on. And so that's my goal for you, to get as many grants, and that will lessen the cost overall for your attendance. Another type of resource or aid is called a scholarship. This is something that you, again, don't have to pay back, but it's often something that you have to achieve. You either have a certain talent or a gift, you have to compete for it, and you receive it through a process. So this is another opportunity for you to offset your cost. There's usually no requirement for payback on that. But again, we want to encourage you to get as many scholarships as possible. The other type of aid is a loan. Now, sometimes loans have had some bad raps over the years, but there are some ways to utilize loans in the most beneficial way. Most loans, at least for school, come with lower interest, but they also some loans allow you to not have any interest while you're attending school. So that's an option for you, but you do have to pay back loans. So just so you know, you have to go into it cautiously. Another resource is what we call work study. This is an opportunity for you to work on campus and receive money in a paycheck, and you can use that to offset your cost while attending. So these are your types or resources of aid. So where can I get a lot of these resources? Well, I'm going to give you a listing of the variety of aid programs out there. The first program that is provided by the school. So Meredith College has a number of aid programs that you can utilize in order to attend school. The first of which is probably the Impact Scholarship. You may have heard about that, and we've put that and promoted that readily across all of our web pages and all the different literature that we have. And so you may have been notified of receiving that or not, I'm not sure, but that is an opportunity for you to use those resources to offset your costs. There are other opportunities at Meredith that in terms of scholarship that you can participate in. And we have a deadline coming up. It's January 15th to apply for many of them. The first of which is a legacy scholarship, which provides for full tuition, room and board, and other additional costs while you're attending Meredith. So that's a great opportunity. If you want to learn more about it, I encourage you to look up the information on our webpage. There's also a presidential scholarship, which is a scholarship given to those students for excellence, and it is where you would be provided the free cost of tuition. The full scholarship would be the cost of tuition. So that is an incredible value, and it is also an awesome opportunity for you to receive that. There are also a number of other merit scholarships that you could be awarded through applying for these scholarships on January 15th. There's music department scholarships, art scholarships, interior design scholarships, and the honors program, as well as the All-STEM program, which is for those that are planning to go into sciences. So I encourage you to go out to our webpage and research more about the scholarship opportunities that are available, and make sure you're mindful of the January 15th deadline for the different scholarship opportunities that you want to apply for. We also, in addition to scholarships, we have a number of need-based grants that we can offer to students. And again, these are grants. These are things that you don't have to pay back. So this is a great opportunity for you to apply for those. As you progress at Meredith, you have opportunity for additional aid through our office. There are a number of upper class scholarships for different areas and different disciplines, but there's also an opportunity for what we call a promise scholarship, which allows you the opportunity to receive additional resources after your first year, depending on how you have done throughout the year and depending on your need. So that is a great opportunity for those that are progressing onto the second year. The other, I'm going to go ahead and cover a couple other areas that offer aid programs. And the second one is the federal government provides aid programs for you to attend school. The first program is called the Federal Pell Grant. This is a grant program to offer to the most needy students. You can qualify for up to $5,600 in this program. I'm sorry, not $5,600. It's actually up to $6,000 now. So again, it is a grant, so it's money that you don't have to pay back. So it's a great opportunity for you to use that money to offset the cost. There is the federal supplemental grant that's linked to the Pell Grant, but you could qualify for up to $4,000 in the federal supplemental grant. For those that are looking to go into teaching, a great opportunity is the Federal Teach Grant, which is what I would say would be a little bit of a hybrid. It is a grant, but it may turn into a loan if you don't fulfill the obligation of actually teaching after graduation. So it is a grant while you're attending school, but if you choose not to fulfill your obligation of teaching while after graduation, then it turns into a loan. You have to pay that back. But if you're interested in that, I would encourage those that are teachers to look at the different subject areas that you need to teach in and the different schools that you would need to teach in. Basically, you have to teach in a certain subject area and you have to teach in low-income serving schools. But there's a number of low-income serving schools in North Carolina and in various other states that you could actually attend. And you can actually review the list and see which schools that are available there. Some other federal aid programs is the federal work study. I mentioned the work study program in our types of aid. This gives you an opportunity to work on campus in a different job and allows you to learn a new skill and also interact on campus, as well as receiving a paycheck. So you can use those resources to offset your cost. There's, I mentioned before, loans as a type of aid. These are the different federal loans that are available to students. This first one is called the federal subsidized loan. This is the type of loan which would allow you to defer your interest while you're in school. For a first year student, you can qualify for up to $3,500 in the federal direct student subsidized loan. Another type of loan is called the unsubsidized, and this is a loan that you can utilize, but it does accrue interest. So you may have the opportunity to take advantage of this. The amount of loan that you could take out your first year could range anywhere from $2,000 to $6,000. So that's an opportunity for you as well. It is a low interest loan. It doesn't mean that you have to make payments on it while you're in school, but it is accruing interest. And then another federal program is not for the student, but for the parents. This is a certain low interest loan for parents that allows you to borrow up to the cost of education through this federal program. So it's a great opportunity for parents to take advantage of this program. And then the last federal program that I'm going to highlight is the VA benefits. We are a yellow ribbon school, and so we have access to a lot of the veterans benefits for those that have served in the military and that have passed those benefits on to you. So we accept all of those veterans benefits. My advice to you, those that have served, and again, I thank you for your service in the military, is that you reach out to the VA benefit coordinator that you in your area, and make sure that you communicate that you are planning to attend Meredith, and make sure they're well versed in what benefits that you would qualify for while attending Meredith. So I encourage you to reach out to them if you have any possibility of any kind of veterans benefits. So that's the federal aid programs. The next area to receive programs would be through the state of North Carolina. So there are a number of state programs set up. The first one is called the North Carolina Need-Based Scholarship Program. This is a scholarship program that you can receive up to $7,200 in a scholarship. Again, you don't have to pay this back, and you would qualify based upon the information you provide through the FAFSA form, which I'll be talking about in a few moments. But it's a great opportunity. We have a number of students that are receiving the need-based scholarship program, and we're very thankful that the state of North Carolina has this program for all private schools. There's also another type of loan similar to the federal Teach Grant, in that it's called the North Carolina Forgivable Education Loans for Service. This is for students that are looking to go into teaching. So you have an obligation after receiving this to teach in the state of North Carolina, but it gives you an opportunity to receive this grant and offset the cost of your education. For a student that's looking at the first and second year, you can qualify for up to $3,000 per year. And as a junior and senior, you can qualify for up to $6,000 each year in this particular aid program. I encourage you to research it a little further, find out more of the details, but it is a great opportunity. We have a number of students taking advantage of that, especially being that Meredith has a great reputation among education and that kind of thing. Another program is the Golden Leaf Scholarship Program. This is particular to counties that have a rich tobacco heritage. And so you could qualify for this depending on the county that you live in. You do have to apply for that. There's a scholarship associated with it, as well as a mentorship program associated with that. You can qualify for up to $3,000 in this scholarship program, and you get that for 4 years. So it's a great opportunity. I believe the deadline for that is March 1st. So please, I encourage you to seek that out and apply if you may qualify, depending on the county that you live in. And then the last program is the North Carolina Teaching Fellows Program. This is a great opportunity for those, again, looking at teaching. It provides up to $8,000 of scholarship money to go towards your cost. And you do have to apply for that separately. And I encourage you to seek that out and research that more. We have a number of students that participate in this program. We're one of only 5 schools in North Carolina that offer it. So we're very excited to be a part of it. And hopefully you can utilize that for those that are looking at teaching. All right, so let me also cover, this is a wide group of scholarship opportunities, and that is outside agencies. Many outside agencies, civics groups, local organizations, churches, parents, employers, online scholarships. There are a number of opportunities out there for you. Many times, this can be probably the most confusing part of the financial aid process. I'm going to try to help you or help you understand that a little bit more. But there are great opportunities out there. This can be a very overwhelming process of trying to find these. So I'm going to give you a little bit of advice about this process a little bit later on. But these are this is a resource for you when you're attending school. All right, so I've given you a lot of different programs. Most of them, fall into different categories. This is some of the other things that you could maybe research and look into. One thing that you could take advantage of is another type of loan program called the alternative loan program. This is done through private lenders. So your local banks like Wells Fargo or First Union or Bank of America. Those are options for you if you would like to take advantage of it. But they have different terms, so you'll need to learn a little bit about those and research those a little bit more. In addition to the programs that I'm mentioning, we do offer a payment plan here at Meredith College, which allows you to split up your payments over the course of the semester. So you have an opportunity to take advantage of that. There is no interest charged for your payments while you're making those payments, and you can sign up for electronic transfer right from your debit card or also from your checking account. So we try to make it as convenient as possible, and you can split it up into 4 payments per semester or 5 payments per semester or 8 payments per year or 10 payments per year. So the other option that you may have, and you may have already invested in this, but if you are a part of a college savings plan, you can send your payments directly to Meredith, and you can credit that right to your account. So if you do have that opportunity, please reach out to our accounting office, and they'll provide you information on how to get that money transferred right to your account. And it's a very streamlined process for you to do that. But that's some other options there out for you. All right, so let's dive in. How do we get access to all of these programs, or how do I see if I qualify for them? So there's a lot of programs out there, but there is only one step essentially to complete to see if you qualify for these. And that is by filling out the free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA form. If you are an international student or a DACA student or say undocumented student, you could fill out an institutional aid app. And that would allow you the opportunity to see about what programs you might qualify for here at Meredith. And then I'm going to also discuss the process of applying for private scholarships. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. So let's first cover filling out or completing or applying for aid. And I put a graphic up here to sort of delineate what the process is in a visual form. So for those that are US citizens or eligible non-citizens, they would fill out the FAFSA form, the FAFSA form. They may be required to go through a process of what we call the verification process, and I'll cover that in just a moment. And then you would be given what we call an offer letter. That's a presentation of the different aid that you could qualify for. For those that are either DACA, undocumented, or foreign students, they would complete the institutional aid application, and then they would be given what we call an aid offer letter. The private scholarship process is a little different, but I wanted to make sure you're aware of it. Basically, you need to seek out these different organizations, see if you qualify for, or see if you are interested in the different scholarships that they offer, and see what you might qualify for. You'll need to supply them with an application or provide them with materials. They'll review it, and then they'll decide on whether you qualify for that or not. And they would provide you sort of a scholarship notification letter. So those are the two different, in visual form, two ways of applying for both for aid and then for private scholarships. Let me go a little bit in deeper detail about the aid process for US and eligible non-citizens. Again, we're trying to seek out different federal, state, and college aid for you. So you have to complete the free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA form. out at fafsa.ed.gov. You will need to have tax information to complete that process. You will need to have your social security number, so it's wise to have that information handy. You'll need to have driver's license, some asset information. In order to complete the process of filing the FAFSA form, you will need to sign it. So you need to have a separate ID, what we call a FSA ID for both the parent and the student. You will need to supply our school code, the Meredith school code, which is 002945. And you might need to use a process, what we call data retrieval, which is the retrieving of your information directly from your taxes. Some tips is that don't procrastinate. Please complete this as soon as you're able. I'll give you some deadlines or some priority dates a little later on to give you a frame of reference of when you need to complete things. If you're selected for what we call a verification, this is a process where there is an additional request of information. Don't panic. This is very common. Very normal part of the process. You didn't do anything wrong. It is a random process. About 30% of the students that apply for financial aid get selected for this process called verification. So quite simply, verification just requires you to fill out what we call a verification worksheet. May have to provide taxes to our office and submit your W-2s. And that's pretty much it. If you do have questions about that, please reach out to us and we can talk through the different requirements and help you with getting that information to us. Some more information about FAFSA. We do receive all this information electronically into our electronic mailbox once you put our school code up there. So it's very important that you put our school code on the FAFSA, and so that way we can get the information in there. There is a student aid report that's sent out, or well, it's not sent out anymore. It's you can go and log in and double check the answers that you provided and confirm the data. And you can make changes if you need to. So I encourage you to do that when you get what we call the student aid report after the data has been processed. You will need to complete the FAFSA each year that you're seeking financial aid. So this is a process that you'll need to go through each year. But it does get much easier as you develop your own pace with it, and you'll understand more of the questions that they ask because you go through it each year. You can file the FAFSA after October 1st of each year. And right now you can file the FAFSA for the coming year for your financial aid for fall. Some additional details about the questions that they're going to ask. They're going to ask questions about your adjusted gross income, some of your untaxed income that you may need to supply, the child support that you may pay, cash savings and checking accounts, assets, the number of family members that are in the household, as well as the number of children attending school. So you see a lot of information that are coming from your taxes that are being pulled. So it is wise to actually have your taxes handy when you're completing the FAFSA form. All right, this is the aid process for students that would fall into the category of being a DACA student, a foreign student, or an undocumented student. Essentially, we have an institutional aid application for undocumented and foreign students. You can download that on our website. And basically, you'll need to supply us with your 2019 tax information from the country that you file a tax return. You might need to convert that to US dollars, but you can use the figures that are on those forms. If you are living in the United States and are filing a tax return there, you can go ahead and use the tax return from the United States and supply that information on the institutional aid app. Students and parents will need to sign the application and provide that to us. You will need to provide us with income information, asset information, and also tax information on that same form. please mail it to the Office of Financial Assistance. And again, don't procrastinate. Get that done as soon as possible. If you do have questions on it, feel free to give us a call and we can work through that form for you. All right. Now, this is the process of going and searching out private scholarships. There are many opportunities to look for scholarships out on the internet. These are two popular sites that we recommend. The first one is CFNC, which will provide you with different opportunities, especially for those that live in North Carolina. So I encourage you to take a look at cfncs.org. And the other scholarship search engine is FastWeb. It provides free scholarship searches for different opportunities, and I encourage you to take a look at that. There are many more out there. I don't have much space to provide all of them, but I would encourage you to take a look at them. Google different searches. Please steer clear of any searches that require any kind of payment. Those generally raise some red flags for me. You can get a lot of information through these free services, and stay clear of anything that requires any kind of fee. Some bits of advice on applying for them. It can get a little overwhelming because the internet is quite large and has a number of opportunities. I encourage you to sort of organize yourself a little bit. Do a broad search and then start to hone in on scholarships you should apply for. Don't apply for everything. You're going to get overwhelmed, and it's going to be not as fruitful a process for you. So I encourage you to target your efforts. Look into the organizations that you have a tie with, that you have had a history with, organizations that you've participated in over a number of years, and apply to those. And really work on telling your story in your essay. Many of them require some kind of essay, so I encourage you to really work on telling your story and telling and sharing with them the reason why you are planning to go to school. So that's the private scholarship process. So you've completed the free application for federal student aid and submitted your materials, or you've completed the international financial aid application and submitted that to Meredith. What we will do with that information is we will review it and we'll see what you may qualify for. And then we will supply your family with what we call an offer letter. And what this does is it shows all the different opportunities and aid programs that you may qualify for. So we're going to look at all the federal programs that you qualify for, all the state programs that you qualify for, and all the Meredith programs that you may qualify for. And we'll present that to you in this aid offer letter. It is only given to those students that have been accepted and admitted to Meredith and filled out the form. So you need to make sure that you do both. We will provide you with information about how to estimate your cost at Meredith for the year, and it'll give you an opportunity to break down the cost and make some decisions about whether you want to take advantage of some of the aid programs or not, or take advantage of living on campus or not. So you have a different opportunity to review all the materials, and so that you can be the most informed about making decisions at your attendance here. Now, our office is, that's our bread and butter. That's what we do. So we're here to help you. Please be in touch with us. We have set up our counselor, our financial aid counselor system, so that you will have the same counselor all the 4 years that you're here, so that you have the opportunity to learn more with them, and they'll be able to learn more about your financial situation and be able to advise you best throughout the process. So we are here to help you. Please be in touch with us, and that's what we want to provide you the best service and provide you the greatest opportunity to make this an affordable place to be. So that is the aid offer letter. Yes.
I hate to interrupt, but we are out of time for the
Oh my goodness.
presentation. It's going so well. It's so much good information. So I'm really am so sorry, but I
Okay,
want to leave some time for students to ask questions so you
okay,
can have time to answer them.
great.
Students, if you have not already, please put your questions in the Q&A box, and our admissions counselor, Carrington O'Brien, will be facilitating our question and answer session. So Carrington.
Thank you, Brittany, and thank you, Kevin. So we got some great questions in the Q&A, but continue to put those in there, and I will answer them or send them over to Kevin as we talk. So one of the first questions we got was a question about the meal plan. How does the meal plan work? Are there 21 meals per week included in room and board for students that live on campus? How does that work, Kevin?
Sure. So the meal plan is basically 21 meals, all the meals, 3 meals a day. And so that is included in that. So you have the opportunity to go into I keep calling the food, what's the Belk Dining Hall, which you have the opportunity to partake in that. They have a lot of different variety out there. But you also have the opportunity in terms of points that you can use in the Beehive, which is more of a cafe kind of type of situation. So you have the opportunity to utilize some points that if you need to grab something really quick, but you have the opportunity each week to use some points. But also for the majority of your meals, they would be in the dining hall, in Belk Dining Hall. So it's 21 meals.
Absolutely. Yeah, so if you are a first year living on campus, you're going to be automatically enrolled in that AllAccess plan.
Right, right.
So we did have a question. I just wanted to reiterate, Kevin already said it, but if you are thinking about applying for scholarships that are that require an application. So the Impact Scholarship does not require an application. You just have to apply to the college. But if you're thinking about applying for the Honors College, for the STEM scholarships, for the music scholarships, things like that, those are due on Friday, the 15th. So another question we had is, if I get a work study job, how many hours will I be required to work per week?
Gotcha. There's not a necessarily requirement for a certain number of hours. It's really dependent on the position. So if your supervisor has work for you, then you can work up to, I guess the recommended amount is not to be above 10 hours, really, to be honest with you, to keep up with studies and whatnot. But you can work anywhere from 2 hours to 10 hours per week. But there's not a requirement that you have to work the number of hours. It will depend on how much money you want to receive. So it's only contingent upon when you work, you'll only receive money for the hours that you actually work.
Absolutely. So our next question is kind of a broad question, and I think that I would be interested to hear what you say to this kind of question is, where can you sign up for federal grants?
Okay,
Do you want to
so
speak to that?
I'm actually very glad that you asked this question, because it's not necessarily how you sign up for it, is you apply for any of the federal grants by completing the free application for federal student aid. They have simplified the process so that you just fill out one form, the free application for federal student aid for federal grants. So you fill out the free application, send that information to Meredith. Meredith will look at the different programs that you could qualify for and then present you with those programs in the aid offer letter. So that's how it works.
Absolutely. So this is a question about verification. I was chosen for verification worksheet from the FAFSA. If I do the steps for that worksheet, but the letter doesn't arrive to Meredith by the deadline, will my aid be counted? And asking because I've heard that mail companies have been slow. And I think this student may be referring to the deposit deadline of May 1st.
I gotcha. So We have a priority deadline. There are very few, actually, there are no instances where you would miss out on any financial aid from Meredith. There is maybe one or two instances in my 13-year career here at Meredith that a student missed out on some state aid, but federal aid programs and Meredith programs are available to you all the way up to the first day of classes. So please, but I don't want you to wait till then. Please complete the verification worksheet as soon as you're able. And we should be able to provide you, we are well ahead of the May 1st deadline. So we're gonna have plenty of time for us to review the information. And for those that are in, I didn't get to cover this in my presentation, but I can cover it now. As for those that are looking at early action, you need to complete the FAFSA by January 15th, and we'll provide you with an aid offer letter by February 15th. That's early action. And then for a regular decision, if you supply your FAFSA by February 15th, we will provide you with an aid offer letter by March 1st. So you'll have an opportunity to review the information, talk with our staff, and get all the information that you need to make a good decision. So that's it sort of in a nutshell. And I hope that provides you some hope with getting the information into us as soon as possible.
Awesome. I think that answered our next question, which is when will we get that offer letter? So it is going to be coming sometime in the next couple months between February and March. So a question is, if we have questions about financial aid and or admission later on, do we contact the admission office? I can answer that. I think your first point of contact should be your admission counselor. They can give you an overview of your financial aid award letter. If you have more detailed questions, then we can connect you with your financial aid counselor, and then we can actually send you a link, and then you can sign up for a Zoom meeting just one-on-one with your family, with your financial aid counselor, and then you can talk really in depth about your own situation. So that's a great option. I recommend everyone do that. And like I said, the first step is just to reach out to your admission counselor.
And I would reiterate, I think that's the best first step, just to get an overview. And then if you need more detailed, you can then talk with us and get further information, definitely.
Absolutely. Another question about work study. What kind of work does work study offer?
Sure. So a lot of them are just working in the various offices in and around campus. But then there are some that you would be working with faculty members. You could be working in classrooms. There is the autism lab that allows for interaction with some of the autism and the autism program. There are different organizations on campus like student activities and the health center, which you could help with their areas. There are some in the physical plant working in the dining hall. So it really does vary depending on what opportunities are available.
Great. So Kevin, do you have a general estimate of what the wage range typically is for those work study jobs?
Yes, they are start out at around about $7.25 an hour, and then go up to about $9 an hour, depending on your experience in the different jobs.
Okay, great. So I guess one last question about work study jobs is, how do you sign up for a work study job? Are you just going to be assigned it? How does that work?
Okay, good question. I'm glad you asked it. It actually, work study is something that you qualify for. So it's based on the information that you submit through the free application for federal student aid. So not everyone qualifies for it. And when you qualify for it, it doesn't mean that you will automatically get a job, but it gives you the opportunity to apply for a work study position. So it is something that you have to qualify based upon the information that you submit on the FAFSA form. So you would be notified of the opportunity to work on campus in your aid offer letter. And so that would be something that you would want to look out for while you get that aid offer letter.
Great. Well, that I think is most of the time we have. I just wanted to address a few last questions. Reiterate that if you do have questions about your award, about financial aid, about scholarships, please go ahead and reach out to your admission counselor. If you don't know who your admission counselor is, just email admissions@meredith.edu and we will find the right person for you. There was also a question about the Honors College. You can apply for the Honors College when you're first year at Meredith, so there is an opportunity later on. But I think that that is all the questions that we have time for right now. But just to reiterate, in addition, if you are an early action student, if you've already submitted your FAFSA or your institutional aid form, you should be getting in the mail your financial aid offer sometime around February 15th, sometime very soon. And same thing for regular decision, it'll just be a few weeks later. So that's all set, you don't have to do anything. If you're not sure if you've submitted the FAFSA, if you don't know how to do it, then make sure that you connect with your admission counselor and they can help you. All right, thank you so much. I'm gonna send it back over to Brittany and she's gonna close us off.
Yes, thank you so much, Carrington. Students, thank you for joining us this evening. You guys had such great questions. Please, like Carrington said, feel free to email your admissions counselor if you do have any lingering questions, and we will point you in the right direction. Again, thank you for joining us this evening. And on January the 26th, we will be offering another First Gen webinar focusing on campus life resources such as Residence Life, first year experience, and others. So students expect to receive more information in the coming days about that. In the meantime, again, we cannot reiterate this enough. If you have any questions, we are here to help. So please be sure to reach out to your admissions counselor. Thank you all for joining us and have a really good night.